Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to the Season 7 Boss Rogers Commander Card video. Well, it's been quite the long fall from grace for Rogers, hasn't it? Since Season 6, man, he has just taken a beating. Not only can he be beaten by a fair fight Reinhardt, but now he can be beaten by a 1/3 the leadership Full Metal. A Walker commander can remove Rogers' defensive stance and has started to really shift Rogers out of the meta, including the fact that Vega can one-shot most Rogers builds with his breakdown alone, and all this shift towards penetration is making Rogers even more vulnerable. So I'm going to give Rogers his own commander card because Rogers is still an incredible commander in the right circumstances. If you're an elf player, you do not want to run into Boss Rogers. Hell, if you're any player except Full Metal or Reinhardt, you don't want to run into Rogers. Even Reinhardt doesn't want to run into Rogers. And a max leadership, max gear Rogers against any commanders is a really good fight, except for Full Metal. And even then, how many people are playing Walker? So, although Rogers is very counterable, he is not as immune as he used to be. So, yeah, I mean, that pretty much hits the nail on the head there, doesn't it? Let's talk about it. So for those of you that haven't learned a lot about Rogers and you don't know a lot about Rogers, definitely watch my other videos. This is more of a short version of it. Rogers is that commander that has an 80% skill that he reduces damage taken. So after he triggers his skill 4 times, he goes up to 3 times his 90% damage reduction. At 4 skills, 120% damage reduction. You hit him and it hits for 0. Plenty of great videos on that. I don't need to show that replay. That damage reduction doesn't work with Fearless, and it doesn't work with, well, right now, just Fearless. There's a base reduction on those pants down there, but those don't work with his defensive stance. They work independently, so you still need to trigger all of his skills to get that defense going. Once he goes immune, he basically just sits there, gets hits for 0, keeps re-triggering. As long as all of his stacks are full and he keeps re-triggering each turn, he just keeps to wailing on his opponent. He has a 20% guaranteed hit skill. It's one of the hardest guaranteed hit skills in the game, but it takes a whole turn to go around. And just from ZGL's, Deranged sent me a message and a replay showing me that now with Virgo, Boss Rogers' Tyrant Cometh gets messed up, and even that misses now. So Rogers has just really taken a beating in the meta. Oh, and also the Ares and Virgo meta. You can reduce his damage to 0. So even if he's immune, he's still hitting you for 0 because Rogers historically has always relied on defense weapons. So he double Eternal Barrier is one of the few commanders that did that. But if you put Ares on and debuff his attack, he'll end up hitting you for 0. So he may not be doing any damage, but he's like a true turtle. Turtles can bite really hard. But I like to put 1 Titan on him, maybe 2 Titans on him now to balance him out if you are afraid of getting hit by a Virgo or Ares. So what to do going into the meta if you are a Rogers player? Well, if you're a super boss player, that's a different story. But mostly it kind of follows this pattern. Don't take fights where you're outnumbered. Definitely go into fights knowing what you're expecting. Don't go against 1-slot bust builds unless you're just trying to hold a base. But typically Rogers is that commander that just holds the garrison or holds someone's ship while they hold a garrison. Fearless pants are the best because for tier 12 you can reduce the tear space damage with that damage reduction, but also they have hit points on them, which is ignores defense, reducing skills like non-violent resistance from Gilly and Vega, which are the big meta you have to worry about. The Shadow chest piece has built-in resistance weakened, but stat for stat, the Titan chest piece, Armor of the Tyrant, is better. But that resistance weakened plus the HP and defense balance of the Shadow is really good too. Don't overlook it. It's probably best in slot because the resistance weakened. Although strengthened tier 12 isn't as vulnerable to strengthened weakened, it still can be. So a little resistance weakened really goes a long way here. Like I said, 1 damage weapon, maybe 2, because of what can happen with Virgo and Ares, reducing his damage. And then as far as the helmet's concerned, the Valkyrie is going to give him that survivability. 500% base hit points as opposed to the 300% from the Devil's Touch. But Devil's Touch has penetration, which is nice. It's going to break through your opponent's defense. For a commander like Rogers, that's not too important. It's more for like Golem mains, which is making a comeback. And then he loses crit. So either way, Devil's Touch is good on him. Valkyrie is just as fine. If you only have 1 Devil's Touch and you have 2 airship commanders, probably use it for the more offensive airship commander. Valkyrie is fine for him now. As far as gems are concerned, Cancer is out. You definitely want to get your main matchup setup concerned, which is commanders that heal, Reinhardt, Elf. Not necessarily Elf, but definitely Reinhardt. If you put Cepheus on Rogers, you can deal with the Reinhardt issue because Reinhardt's heal is really what helps him stay alive against Rogers. So by getting 5-piece Cepheus, that would solve that issue. Scorpio is really nice just to have some damage on him, just a guaranteed hit and damage. And you don't get too much value out of like Libra or Virgo unless you're going against another Rogers. And even then, that's not really how you want to gear this matchup. So, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, gem for hit points, gem for defense, maybe a little attack. Like I said, that can be a problem. Gem for a little bit of crit because you might lose it in Devil's Touch. And watch out for that new Crit Wither meta coming. But that's pretty much it. That's Boss Rogers. He plays a little bit like Dodger Rogers. I'll give Dodger Rogers on video. But he is Commander number 2. If you want this image, go down into the description below. There's a link to the high-def version. Make sure you download the high-def version so that when you zoom in, it's not blurry. A lot of people have been seeing the previews online and WeChat, and it's all blurry text. They can't read it. That's because you don't have the high-def version. You just have the preview. Download the 2 or 3 megabyte file. And watch out for full metals. And probably Robin and Lilith, but not a lot of people are playing those. I think that project kind of fizzled out. So that's it. Are you still there? Hey, one more thing. It has come to my attention that a large amount of players that watch this channel are not on the Line community. Line is a social app. If you think you learn a lot from the YouTube channel, just wait until you get into the Line community. Go to the App Store and download Line, L-I-N-E. It's free to use. You make an account and add me personally, Melt AOW. Check in the description below, and I will personally invite you into whatever Ark of War channel is appropriate for you. And don't stop there. Get your guild online. If you want to be successful at this game, you can't do it alone. Send out a guild mail all. Invite all your guildmates to join Line. Invite one of them to a chat. Invite a few more players. Next thing you know, you have a guild chat. Everyone needs a guild Line chat. Get on it. Go. Right now. Download Line. Seriously. Get at least like 3 or 4 members of your guild on it, and then it'll just grow naturally.